So welcome to ECTEL Bytes, a production of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority. I'm your host, Coretta Crooks-Charles, ECTEL's Communications and Media Relations Manager. In our first episode, you heard that ECTEL is the regulatory body for telecommunications in its 5 member states, namely the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is made up of 3 components: a Council of Ministers, a Regional Directorate, a National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, or the NTRC, in each member state. Today, our special guest is a representative from the NTRC in St. Lucia, Ms. Sandra Jones. She's the administrator of the Universal Service Fund. But before we welcome her, I'll set the tone for our conversation by sharing a bit about the Universal Service Fund. The Universal Service is the principle that all persons in the ECTEL member states should have access to electronic communications services. Under the Telecommunications Act in the ECTEL member states, Universal Service is defined as the provision of public voice telephony, internet access, telecommunications services to schools, hospitals, and similar institutions, and the disabled and physically challenged, or other service by which people access efficient, affordable, and modern telecommunications. A Universal Service Fund, or the USF, has been established in each ECTEL member state for the promotion of universal service. The Universal Service Fund is paid for by the contributions from providers of telecommunications services, which is assessed as a percentage of their annual revenues. Universal service is an important provision in the treaty establishing ECTEL and in the Telecommunications Act of the ECTEL member states. Universal service programs have helped make broadband service available in a number of public institutions, as well as in public areas. The National Telecommunications Regulatory Commissions, or the NTRCs, in each of the 5 member states manage the USF. So with that being said, let's welcome Ms. Sandra Jones, the Administrator of the Universal Service Fund at NTRC St. Lucia. Sandra, welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Faz.
All right, so we're going to jump into it. Yes, and I'm so happy you said yes without even thinking twice. Thank you so much.
That's not a problem.
All right, so we're going to jump into it because it's very interesting and I want people to learn as much as they can about the USF. So how long have you served as the Universal Service Fund Administrator for the NTRC in St. Lucia, and how has that experience been so far, Sandra?
Well, it has been 7 years thus far. It has been a very rewarding journey. I'm also pleased that all of our projects and initiatives have been very successful as well. However, I must compliment my capable project assistants who accompany me in this department. It's a department of 2, and also the competent staff of the NTRC. We're very small here, but we share great teamwork, and I am grateful for that. So this has helped me to carry out my work to the best of my ability.
Okay, wow, 7 years, that is a long time. So I'm sure you have a lot to tell us.
Yes,
all
sure.
Right. So tell us about some of the major programs funded by the USF your office has implemented or supported in St. Lucia over the years.
Okay, so the fund has implemented thus far projects aimed at improving broadband connectivity, community Wi-Fi, and computer equipment to enable adequate access, and also voice telephony, as you would have mentioned. That is the pay phones, that serves the general public. Over the past years, we would have implemented at least 12 projects, some of which have been closed, but we do have a few and running right now. The projects geared towards community Wi-Fi and community access would have been the Soufre Community Access Center and Environs, the Babuno Library and Environs, the Cicero Secondary School and Environs. Also, we have done the Digital Payphone project. We expanded that project. It was already existing, but we expanded it because there was a need of having telephone access in the underserved areas of the country. And yes, we know everyone had access to cell phones and so, but after a study carried out by the NTRC USF, we found that a lot of persons may not even have enough to have a cell phone going. So that project, we welcome it a lot, and it proved very valuable over the years. And also we went on to do libraries, all the libraries and community access centers throughout St. Lucia. We also did the Sir Arthur Lewis Southern Campus in Vieux Fort, the Holy Family Children's Home. We did an improved access to the differently abled institutions. That special project looked at the Lady Gordon Opportunity Center, the special ed units that's in Castries, Soufre, and Vieux Fort. Also, the blind welfare benefited from that project, and the Donata School and Vocational Center. Most recently, we've done the Boys Training Center and Environs, the National Skills Development Center. It's 2 campuses in Vieux Fort and in Castries. Also, our very last project, which we've just been handed over by the provider, the winning provider, it is the Castries Southeast Community Wi-Fi, where we covered 6 locations throughout in that community, in that constituency. And very importantly, last year with the COVID situation, we had an initiative. We will not call it a project because it fell outside our usual project procedure. So it was termed a response, a COVID-19 response, where we provided learn books and MiFi devices. That was like 4,000 ebooks and 4,000 MiFi units to the Ministry of Education, where they carried out a needs assessment for the persons who these devices would have assisted best.
Wow, you have been certainly busy, you and the rest of your team. Congratulations. And some of these projects that you mentioned sounded really important. And what I like though is the fact that sometimes we make the assumption that everybody owns a cell phone, but you said
Yes.
that the NTRC through the USF did research to realize that not everybody, has a cell phone. So I'm sure the communities would have been very grateful for this, especially those who were unable to purchase, a cell phone. So I'm just wondering, Sandra, what is some of the feedback you've gotten from the communities based on some of these amazing projects that USF has done so far?
Oh, well, every project that we implement, that we subsidize, and I must say all of our projects are subsidized for 5 years. So within that 5 years, we have a monitoring aspect to the projects. We will normally visit the facility every so often and speak to management, speak to patrons, persons accessing the service. And I must say they have been giving us very, very good feedback. They're very pleased. One of my most rewarding projects, I must say, is the project that catered for the differently abled. I mentioned the different entities that we would have covered, and it was very nice to see and very rewarding to see the young kids having access to the special software and the special equipment provided for the project, catering to their special needs. So I must say this project is a very, very rewarding project for us. And we're also looking forward to do a similar one with the National Council for Persons with Disability.
Wow, awesome. And the fact that you are trying to be inclusive, because there's so many other sectors in society that you could assist, the regular school, the community. But then when you do your research and you see that there are persons in need and you leave no one behind, this really says a lot about the NTRC and how they're using the USF funds to provide, services to persons who are often forgotten, Sandra. So again, kudos to you.
And yes, and if I may add, the mandate of the USF speaks to the underserved and persons with disability, specifically. So these are the persons we don't really want to fall through the cracks, if you understand. Apart from our projects that we add, we have been involved in a lot of initiatives. Like 2018, 2019, we had something called the Summer Tech program, which we would have rolled out in the north and southern part of the island. That would be, we will have students from the secondary schools mostly, and they would be involved in programs like computer-related skills program. We've done that for like 2 years, 2018 and 2019. And then there's the Girls in ICT, which is an ITU initiative. We have been having programs since 2015 to 2020, where we would have involved different groups of girls throughout the island in different IT related activities as well. So that's apart from our projects.
Oh, okay, wow, that's a lot. So I want to talk a bit more about the ebooks and the MiFi project, because I remember clearly at the onset of COVID, many persons were sending messages to groups asking, do you have a spare laptop? Do you have a spare computer? Because a particular child or children in the class who were not as fortunate did not have this device. So it's really admirable that through the USF fund, you've partnered with Digicel and the Ministry of Education to provide 4,000, is it 4,000 ebooks and 4,000 MiFi devices?
That's right. That's right.
So, wow. So what level of education received it? Is it primary, secondary, tertiary, or was it a mixture of students?
Well, the ebooks. Okay, so I must say, let me start by saying the whole initiative materialized with the submission of a request from the Ministry of Education in April 2020. They actually came to us with a request for 500 computers, and then with further discussion internally and further talks, we've decided to boost the amount, and that hence the reason why we ended up, if we're going to make an impact, we're going to make a greater impact. So we've decided to do 4,000. The Form 3s, I understand, because the needs assessment was carried out by the Ministry of Education. So it was not the NTRC did not really decide who is going to be actually receiving the computers or the MiFi units. But in doing so, the ministry targeted Form 3 students and up in order to receive the ebooks, as we were told. The MiFi units, the primary right into secondary. And they did not go hand in hand in that a person receiving an ebook did not automatically receive a MiFi unit. So reason why we also included a MiFi unit, which was not requested from us, because in keeping with the USF mandate, we are to provide really connectivity and ensure that persons are connected, efficiently with internet and in ease and everything. So we included the connectivity aspect of it. So there are persons, for example, who would have a personal laptop, a personal computer, but the internet access has been a little bit sketchy, a little bit. So the principals of the schools, the various, the various principals or whoever, they would provide the MiFi to that student who is in need of connectivity. And that's how it's distributed, based on need.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the best thing to do. Yes, you provided the fund, but I would presume the ministry would be in a better position, as you rightfully said, to do whatever assessments and then hand it out thereafter. So that makes perfect sense. I was just wondering, though, I'm not sure if you can answer this question. How long will the students benefit? So say, for example, somebody in the 4th grade in primary school would have received it. Do they get it until they're finished with primary school, going into high school or secondary school? Or is it that you assess, and if things improve, it may be taken? And how does that work?
Okay, are you saying if they're going to continue getting a device?
Yes, or access to the MiFi throughout,
Oh, the service. Okay.
Yes, the service.
Okay, because it's outside of the USF mandate, in that in not really this mandate, I should say, but it's mode of operandi. It's not our usual project. It hasn't followed our usual project procedure, which means that it would not be a 5-year initiative on our part. So we have decided to do it for 1 year. So, for example, it's the ebooks, there is a license attached to it. We've paid for the 1 year license to have it running. The ministry, on the other hand, has an ongoing similar initiative with ebooks. So at the end of our 1 year, they will continue having the license paid for and continue that access for that particular child, for example. The same goes for the MiFi units. We hope, and we hope that it is intended that the ministry will continue to look into the access of it. And of course, when a project is completed or an initiative is completed, one can always return and make a onward request. We will, we look into it and see whether it can be approved based on.
Okay, thanks for that explanation, Sandra. Because yes, the NTRC through the USF, you've done such an amazing job providing the 4,000 units. But this also gives, corporate St. Lucia, so to speak, an opportunity to step up, because you started this project So I mean, for continuance, the ministry can approach them, I would presume, to continue because you started it. So I completely get where you're coming from with that. I'm curious, has anything been put in place to ensure students are unable to access inappropriate sites or don't spend excessively long periods on the internet now that they have, greater access?
Of course, and we made sure of it on our end. We would not be the management, entity for the devices or so, but we made sure because our funds is being diverted to it. And yes, they have a 0 rated list. It goes for the ebooks and also for the MiFi units. So before the MiFi units was actually handed out to the students, these particular sites were blocked, and then inappropriate sites, deemed inappropriate sites, and also for the ebooks.
Okay.
Well, the known sites that's, like young students would be mostly attracted to,
Yes. Okay. All right. That's responsible because yes, you have access, but they're still children, and if you can at least prevent certain things from happening,
yes,
even better. So that's great. So can anybody walk off the street and go to the NTRC office and just say, I have this project? What's the procedure for accessing the USF to carry out projects, Sandra?
Well, it's a fun for all, right? But we do encourage entities like groups and individuals who have a management structure in place in order to apply to the project, right? The project must fall within the mandate of the USF in that it must cover, everything that we would have mentioned before. And also, there should not be a profit generating project in that we hope that project to reach as much persons as possible, but not generally a profit generating venture. It should be viable enough. For example, it must be viable to ensure sustainability beyond the 5-year subsidy that we are going to provide, because we would not like to see like white elephants all over the place. We'd like to know that the organization, the entity can take it up and keep running with it in terms of keep paying their bills, keep paying their internet. And this is what we do. We pay your internet bill with the winning provider, over the 5 years. So yes, and then the proposals as well must be submitted on our official application form, right? This form can be retrieved from our website. Our website is www.ntrc.lc. And you can also receive a hard copy by walking into our office in Boardwalk and collecting same.
Okay, all right. I just recently learned where you're located, Sandra. I had the impression it was somewhere else. So can you say where in Boardwalk your office is located?
Gosh, am I good at directions?
It's not far from, is it EM Care? It's like opposite there, like before you get
everybody knows Rasco, I think.
Yeah.
Most persons know Rasco. So it's directly opposite Rasco on the other side of the street. It's a 3-story yellowish building. Yeah.
Right.
There is a tile building close by on the same side, and it's in the vicinity of Estenes and that plaza area there as well. So it's right within that area in Boardwalk.
And you could also give your phone number, Sandra, just in case, because of COVID, in case your office may not be fully staffed, just give a contact number so persons could reach you.
Okay. You would say, 1 second.
Sure.
I'm looking for the right numbers. Okay, 43435. 435. I'm looking for which one. Oh no, 453-2558.
Okay.
And
All right.
458-2035.
Awesome. Awesome. I should have asked you beforehand, so you would have had it, but it just dawned on me that you may not be open all the time, so it would be good to share the number. So
Yes.
thanks for sharing that. So tell us one or two things that people may not know, but really should know about the Universal Service Fund.
Okay, so, as I mentioned before, the projects have a subsidy period of 5 years. So that's important to note because, persons just don't have a clue, even though they apply. And also, assistance from the USF follows a strict procurement process, which means that, and it also includes a bidding process. So you applying towards or for assistance from the USF does not necessarily mean you'll be handed a check in order to go and implement that particular project. We handle everything on the inside with a bidding process, and the bids are solicited from the telecommunication providers who, as you mentioned earlier, are the contributors to the Universal Service Fund. So according to the mandate, the telecommunication providers are the ones who would eventually bid for the internet aspect of the project. Okay, with a project with an equipment aspect to it, like software, computer equipment, we also encourage local suppliers to submit bids as well.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that, Sandra. Any closing words? See, we're almost at the end. So anything that you probably should have said that you didn't say, you could use this opportunity to speak about it now.
Okay. What I would like to say, I would like to urge young persons, especially young persons, to always keep in the know. I know there are a lot of news out there that maybe a little bit more catchy or a little bit more, yeah. But always keep in the know and take advantage of opportunities like this, like what the NTRC is offering right now, and that too will help them prepare for the future. Now, the USF long-term aim as well is to create what I would say producers and not necessarily consumers, or strictly consumers. So whatever projects are being submitted, keep in mind that it should be something that you can, expand on. You can also, it's an investment on our part. So it should be an investment on your part as well, on your organization. And it can help young persons or other persons, young business persons trying to get off the, to access it and also to help them to grow. The Universal Service Fund is not necessarily free money, as most persons might want to look at it. It's not just, you come and you just collect a check, you collect free money from the NTRC, but instead it's a contribution to continued economic development of the country. That's how I look at it. And that's my parting words, that persons should know that, and they should be made aware of that and take full advantage of that as well.
Okay, I know you said it was your parting words, but something you said, and I want to follow up. I like that you said you want to create producers and not just consumers, because that leads to people being more creative, with the offerings, and that they could then turn around and provide to solutions. Does the NTRC have like workshops to encourage this type of thing, or to speak about the process and procedure? Do you guys do meetings and that kind of thing? How do you help persons to do this?
Well, one way of helping persons to do that, over the years, I've mentioned that we would have carried out workshops around the island. Most of our workshops so far took the form of, for example, coding for robotics, graphic design, right? Digital marketing, introductory computer skills, so encouraging persons to, well, IT related, of course, because This is where we're aiming at. But encouraging persons, women, young girls, you know, to participate in programs like that can help them.
So in addition to that, what I'm probably meant to ask is, do you have like workshops or meetings to help persons with the process to access the funds? That's probably how I should have put it.
Oh, the process, no. We don't have like ongoing workshops, but of course, somebody who is interested in applying, we're always open to assist. We will walk you step by step through the application process. You can always call any one of us. Any one of us in here can pick up an application and walk somebody through and explain to them what they need, how to get it, how to get that particular information that is necessary. So we're quite open. We're quite open to assisting persons, even though we don't have a formal or a set workshop for that purpose, but we're open to helping.
Okay, all right. And my final question to you is, you had mentioned that it's not just free money, and they have a part to play, it's an investment. And you also carry out monitoring and evaluation over the years. I'm just wondering, has there ever been a case where you had to, I don't need the details, I'm just curious, where you had to sort of withdraw the project funds because whoever received it was not, abiding by the rules, so to speak, or no, that has never happened before? Just curious.
Withdraw the project funds? No, well, it's not a matter of withdrawing the funds, because based on how the projects are set up, it's paid for, like the implementation aspect of it is paid for upfront, basically. And then what we continue over the 5 years doing is paying for the access to the internet, the access to the service. There was a situation once where it is required of the management of that facility to submit reports, quarterly reports, and it was not done. So we were forced to shut down the service just for a little while, and then, but everything went back, everything went back to normal. But I guess they got the message. Yeah. The message was sent out, but we had to cease the servicing for a while, just so that they can understand the importance of following the procedures of the Universal Service Fund.
Indeed. I'm happy I asked that question, Sandra, because what you are doing in the communities is extremely important, especially now with increased needs because of COVID and so on. And so persons applying ought to take it seriously enough to abide by the rules. And if you ask for a quarter report, just get it done. That's why I asked the question, just to put emphasis on the importance of this initiative, and for the recipients to take it seriously enough to get their part done.
And Ms. Charles, as you touched on the importance of taking this thing very serious, there is an aspect of the projects which speaks to sustainability. And what we have seen so far from the projects that is closed presently, that we're still trying to reinstate, on our own. We've been, there's a sustainability aspect of it, where it speaks to you being able to continue keeping the project alive in terms of service, in terms of internet service and so. And this has not been the case for a few projects. And because of the vast amount of money that would have already been invested in these projects, we are presently looking into returning to these projects and having them reinstated, just to ensure that persons continue to benefit from the services that they would have been enjoying for the last 5 years. So it's very important that they keep the sustainability aspect and be serious of that, aspect of the projects in moving forward.
Indeed, because it makes no sense you start something, you invest so much, and then after 5 years it just ends. So I love
right. That's right.
Okay, so it was my absolute pleasure to spend time with you, Ms. Jones. You've shared so much about the impactful and worthwhile work being done by the NTRC St. Lucia through the Universal Service Fund on this our second episode of ECTEL Bytes, and I'm hoping you'll come back in the future when you have more projects.
So we do have a lot more to speak about, but so that would be great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'm sure Ms. Jones can come back to our Facebook page and respond accordingly. Because I was unable to monitor Facebook at the same time while doing this. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I'm sure we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And just a reminder that our follow-up Girls in ICT Day contest is still taking place. The deadline is next Tuesday, June 1st, and we're giving away not one, not two, but 5 Amazon gift cards valued at $100 US. I know I would want that. So, but the thing is, I'm not in the age range. So Caribbean girls, ages 8 to 16, don't let this opportunity to win pass you by. It's very simple. All you have to do is take a photo of you interacting with technology, computers, telephone, television, radio, whatever, and just write one message from each speaker. There were 4 speakers, and you can access their speech on our social media. It's on our YouTube page. It's also on our Facebook page, which is at ECTEL. Instagram has more details. It's also on our Twitter page, which is ECTEL Authority. And you could get the recording there and just enter the competition. So parents, if you know somebody in need of $100 US from Amazon, this is the competition that they could enter. Very simple. So ECTEL Bytes is a production of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, and we will be live on our Facebook page on the last Wednesday of every month from 2 p.m. EST. So make sure you join us next time for episode 3, which will be on June 30th. So I'm your host, Caressa Crooks-Charles, ECTEL's Communications and Media Relations Manager. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, do keep safe and take care.